Hi, welcome to Lovin Sheila, the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about divorce. This week, we heard about another divorce, another celebrity divorce, Candy Burris, Todd Tucker. Every time I hear of divorce, it saddens me inside because I understand what goes along with it. A lot of pain, a lot of anguish, a lot of sleepless night, a lot of hurt, a lot of guilt, a lot of what ifs. I want to share some of my experience and my process, and also kind of hit on some things that I think maybe can help us avoid having to deal with divorce in our lives. Before we go any further, I would like to invite you to subscribe to our channel. Just click right now. We're going to talk about a lot of real life situations, real talk for real women. So let's get right to it. I started this podcast not because I was going through a divorce, but I was very much trying to preserve my family. And this started pre-divorce, pre-separation. But I was going through a period of discovery where I was learning more and more about myself and more about my behavior within relationships. So I dug in and I began to learn all I can about me. And that's why this is Lovin Sheila, because we have to start with loving ourselves. Like I said early on, just like on the airplane, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you can help anyone. And so it was me putting my oxygen mask on and really seeing life as it really was and not how I wanted to believe it was. In the process, it showed me where I erred, where I didn't have boundaries, where I could have communicated more. And those are some of the things that aided my marriage, I believe led to the end of my marriage. I can't say I wanted a divorce, but it came a point where I had to stand up for me and what my wants and my needs were and what my non-negotiables are. I needed to feel seen, heard, like I mattered, like I was a consideration, like I was cared for. Those were my needs and my wants and some of the things that I didn't feel in my relationship. And so when I see other people going down this road of divorce, I imagine that they experience maybe not the same things, but at the same time things were tugging at them just like things have tugged at me, because it takes a while to get to the point where you say divorce. It should not be the initial response to issues. So I imagine that those people enter into marriage with the same intention that I did, which is to live happily ever after, not with the intention of it ending in divorce. Hence, I recognize the pain that goes along with that type of decision. And I recall shortly after my separation, I had left our family home and I happened to be in the neighborhood. And I was thinking to myself, why can't we just be together? Like, I'm by myself, he's by himself. Why can't I just go over there and we just be together? And it pulled at me because I'm like, yeah, but I had to be strong because I knew that would not facilitate what I was trying to achieve. And that was to stand up for me and demonstrate that certain behaviors and certain things would not be tolerated by me. So if I went and enjoyed a Saturday, it was not conducive to what I was trying to achieve. And so I had to sit with that. And so in that time, I had to take some time, spend some time alone, and do more work on me and have more discovery. Because being together, in my view, was accepting things that I thought were unacceptable. And I was trying to stand up for how I believed I should be treated, what I thought my worth was, what I thought my value was, and how I felt I should be heard. So it was something I could not stand down on. Anyway, we separated physically, and eventually we divorced. Now, a legal divorce may be difficult because of all the battles and all the things that you have to establish and who gets what, and I don't even want to get into that. It's intense. That part is far easier than the divorce that has to take place within your heart, because you can divorce legally, you can be separated physically, but your heart is something that's always with you, and whatever feelings that you had in your heart, those can take much longer to diminish or for you to sit with and to accept that that this person is no longer a part of your life the way they once were. Hence, you can divorce, but when does your heart divorce? And that is the question. And that is where the healing has to take place. Often your heart wants what it wants. It hangs on to the same things. And I'll share with you a scripture about love. Love suffers long and is kind, does not envy, does not parade itself, it's not puffed up, it does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, and endures all things. And I think that last part is bears all things, believes all things, and endures all things. And that's what we enter into, I believe, when we enter into marriage. We enter into where we want to believe, endure, and bear all things. And that's why we say, till death do us part. So it's very challenging when we make that type of vow and we have to like disavow it and turn away and repent from it. I'm going to use that word. It's challenging because that's not what we set out to do. So the physical doesn't necessarily match up with the heart. Again, there's great pain, disappointment, shame. I mean, emotions that I would not wish on my worst enemy. And I think to make it a little easier for me, I held a special place for my ex-husband in my heart. And I told my friends I'd always, care for him. I'd always want the best for him. Even though I wasn't with him, I wanted good for him, and I'd always care about him. And I even thought of how I would feel, how he would feel when I remarried, or how I would feel when I had a new husband, and considered him in that situation. I retained the soft spot for him because I felt I knew him best and I understood him. However, in order to receive the fullness of my own life, I had to let that go. And it was challenging, but I had to learn to let people sit in the position that they earned. Just like when you're on a basketball team and you earn your starting spot, you also earn that spot on the bench. You earn your position through your behaviors. I'm not responsible for another person's behavior. So if their behavior puts them in a certain position, then they have to sit in that. And so I had to learn to allow that to happen, because when we don't, that's codependency, meaning I'm trying to be responsible for not only my behavior, but someone else's behavior as well. And that is foundational for codependency. And we're trying to live healthy lives with boundaries and be whole. And there's no place for codependency within that. If you've earned lack of access, if you've learned a lack of access to me, it is what it is, and I can't feel bad for you for that, because you earned it. You did the work. Now I'm doing the work to be whole, healed, happy, and well. And I can't take the baggage of yesterday into my future. I share my feelings on divorce to explain to you my why. We all have a why for everything we do. I get up in the morning and I work because I want to pay my bills and I want to maintain a suitable lifestyle for my son and me. That's my why. Because if I didn't want that, I wouldn't do what I do. And so the reason I do this, the reason I come to you every week and share my experiences, because on this journey, I believe that I've learned a lot about myself, a lot about relationships, a lot about others. And I've made mistakes along the way, and I've seen all kinds of I've seen quite a few different types of characters, some good and some not so good. But through it all, I've come out with a new perspective, I've gained new knowledge, and I'm better prepared and equipped for what my future holds. Because these experiences taught me to watch, to not ignore the red flags, to recognize them and don't omit them and try and sweep them under the rug. Recognize them for what they are. Sometimes they can be addressed, and sometimes it's a clear sign to run. Just to run. Because people are who they are, and it's very simple. It's not rocket science. People are who they are, and you have to believe them when they show you. In my relationships, the things that I saw prior to marriage are the same things I saw during marriage and after. It wasn't like a surprise. It was that I chose to ignore red flags, to be laser focused on what I wanted, which was, I guess, to be married, to be in a relationship with this person, not recognizing their capacity or if they could meet my needs or meet me where I am. I was dead set on marriage and making my marriage work regardless of the behaviors. And that is something that was revealed to me early on. And so I'm telling you right now, pay attention, like I said last week, to the way the person presents. Because a mask cannot be held up for long. Eventually, it's going to come down. You're going to see the person for who they are. And largely, I don't believe people change that much. Your character is your character. What you're made of is what you're made of. I mean, I think of my child, different things that we worked on throughout his youth, his proclivities in certain areas. There's still his proclivities in certain areas because that's who he is. Likewise, in relationships, they are who they demonstrate they are, not necessarily who they say they are. And be mindful of that. So my admonition to all of us is before we are drawn with the allure of a wedding or by our biological clock ticking, loneliness, or what a man can offer us, whatever motivation you may have, make sure that you're taking the time to learn, know, and study the person that you're linking up with. Because more is going to be linked than you know. You're not just going to be linked physically. You're going to be linked legally, financially, and there's so many more things that go along with that union. Make sure you're taking the time to learn and study. Just like you are studying for an exam, you need to study and pay attention in this situation. Just like you need to take notes when you go to a lecture, you need to take mental notes of different things, just so you're understanding of the whole person, because we can always talk about who we are, what we're about, but the biggest demonstrator is what we do and what we show and how we show up. I saw something today that says the healer suffers first and then comes back with the medicine. And here on this podcast, that's what I'm trying to do. There's some things that I may have suffered through, that I may have barely made it through, things that were difficult, but I made it through. I suffered through it. I survived it, came out on the other side to thrive. And now I'm coming back with the medicine. Like, how can you avoid some of the things that I've gone through? And the biggest mistake that I made was not paying attention to warning signs, to red flags, for being laser focused on, oh yeah, we're going to get married. Laser focused on, we're going to build a life together, and we're going to have a home, and we're going to have children. I was building up, but I wasn't laying the foundation. So we built up everything. We had it all, but there was no foundation that was built on care and support, unconditional love. And so we have to pay attention to a person's capacity to give those things, because at the end of the day, what I learned is I really need a lot of support. I want it, and I need it, and it makes me better. And I lean into that. It's necessary. I spent far too much of my life without it, and I'll be doggone if I spend any more time without it while I'm with someone. I will not be alone in a relationship. And so study these things. Make sure they have the capacity to be there for you, to be supportive, that you have the ability to align your hopes and your dreams together. It matters, because it can tear things apart. So I ask you not to be hasty, not to be motivated by superficial things. Take the time to learn the heart and the intentions of a person before you move forward. I value marriage. I love the institution. I despise the destruction of divorce. So I encourage you to do the work on the front end so that you can enter into marital relationships wisely. And if you experience the red flags prior to entering the marriage, that you have the courage and the strength to halt, to say no in advance. I believe it will save you a lot of heartache and rebuilding. So I'll share with you where I've had to pivot, where things were not lining up for me. Sometimes I share with you case studies, like I did starting with the BS meter, where I went through like a little trilogy of my experiences in dating. Example of what not to do. So that was like my case study to help and guide you to do better than me. My purpose is to enlighten, to make relationships stronger, someone that you share intention with, that you can align your heart and your soul with. because disalignment or misalignment can cause a lot of pain moving forward. In wrapping this up, be clear, do the work on the front end. I did not do the work on the front end, suffered through divorce, the pain, the hurt, the shame, the guilt, the everything that goes along with it, all the negative emotions that you do not want. That's what goes along with divorce. But if you can do the work on the front end, and I'm not guaranteeing you a foolproof marriage, skip to my loo to happiness, it's still going to be work. But I think if you can align yourselves on the front end, study and learn the person, not be hasty, not get caught up on a wedding, but know that you're entering into a marriage, I think that we can help minimize the destruction of divorce. And we won't have to spend our time healing from that, but we can spend our time thriving and progressing and being productive in other areas of our life. And so this one just hit home a little bit for me as I look at life and I look at my divorce and the experience after it and the feelings in the heart, how my heart has been changed, I believe permanently. It's been kind of a demolition. It's been demolished and it's been rebuilt, repurposed, and reopened. But I don't want that for all of us. I think we can all not go through the same process. Avoid some of the red flags, avoid some of the pitfalls, be mindful, be aware, be discerning, use all the tools that you have, use your intuition, use your gut, make good decisions about who you enter into relationships with. Don't rush, you have time. Don't be motivated by external factors, be motivated by what's in you, what you know, and use your knowledge and apply it to your relationships. And I think that we can have more successful relationships, and that's what Lovin Sheila wants for us all, more successful relationships. Less pain, less hurt, able to move forward with wholeness, healed, and even prosperous. So I hope this helped you. I hope this served you in some way. It served me, getting some things off my chest. So thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next Lovin Sheila. Bye for now.